Kia ora and welcome to Uncovering Authenticity with Monique Bradley. I am Monique Bradley. Welcome to the podcast. These podcast episodes are designed to get stories told. This is a platform for everyone, for you to come and share your story, to be part of a conversation and hear the reason why people do what they do, why they serve, why they're driven to get out of bed in the morning and do the great work that they do out here in the world. So today we have a special guest here in the studio. I am delighted to pick the brains of this business broker because I find it fascinating. Please welcome to the studio, Mr. Peter Nola. Woo! How was that? That was pretty
Thank
good.
you. It's pretty impressive, actually. I couldn't have written it better myself.
I know. Well, you're lucky that I did it today. So, no pressure on you. Business broking. Mm-hmm. When I met you, we met at a B&I networking event. Yep. And whenever I hear that, and I said, my first thing to you was, wow, that's really cool. How did you get into an industry like business broking?
Oh, I sort of fell into it, basically. I had I guess that's what you do. So I had my own business for 20 odd years. We sold it, didn't know what I was going to do. And I thought, well, the guy that sold it didn't seem to be that good or that smart. So I thought any fool can do that. And so I thought, well, that's what I'll do. I'll have a go. And 20 years later, I'm still doing it, basically.
Wow. So what was your previous business that you had? What industry was it? Was it in the same sort of industry?
No, it was in the music industry. We had a handful of music stores back in the day when there were cassettes and vinyl and CDs and things like that. So we had that for a while. And I was a hypnotherapist for a short period as well. And then ended up selling businesses.
So quite the entrepreneur.
Well, it's a natural progression, isn't it? Music, hypnotist, selling businesses.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But further back, before we got on the podcast today, there is quite a big music history connection for you. And you were mentioning that because we were talking about one of our other podcast guests, Mr. Gerard Smith, and you remembered the name and the band, The Rumour. But your connection into music has been quite long, and you worked originally for quite a big music company as well back in the day. So
back in the day, it was WEA International, which morphed into Warner Brothers, part of Warner Brothers, and I was there for, I think, 5 or 6 years. And, we saw lots of different artists come through, and I was a salesman there, obviously, because I've been selling forever. So I used to go around to record shops and say, hey, this is the new release for whomever, and away we'd go.
And through that experience, what do you think? Because obviously you're still here, you're still in business, so you must have a bit of a gift of the gab, I guess, especially in sales. What do you think has been the key behind keeping on morphing into these different roles in sales as well?
Well, I enjoy sales, and I think the key for being a good salesman is never overpromise, never underdeliver, and don't lie. So if you do those three things, you tend to be successful in whatever selling you try and do.
That's beautiful. So what attracted you to the job with Warner Brothers? How did you get into that job to start with?
Oh, I kind of fell into it, really.
It's a bit of a pattern of history, eh?
You talk to someone and they go, oh, I know someone and they're looking for someone who can, and I can do that. So I just went along and literally went along for an interview, and the following week I had the job. As simple as that.
That's incredible. Was it a case, so kind of a little bit of, perfect timing?
Oh, a lot of that. Yeah, of course. I mean, clearly they thought I could sell, and I had a bit of selling history behind me, just part-time and things like that, and they were looking for someone, and I don't know, I must have said the right things to the right person at the right time.
At the right time. So where you mentioned selling history, have you been trained in that, or did you just come fresh out of school and you just had the knack, the X factor?
I just like talking to people. Yeah. It's as simple as that. And I think if you talk simply and honestly and say this is how it works, this is why it works, then people tend to believe you.
So in business broking, so I come from media, right? And I come from storytelling and communication and theatre. And business broking for me just sounds like a completely different world, which is why I'm fascinated by this chat today. What does it take to sell a business? Like, I've got businesses, and if I was going to sell them in the future, what are the things that I would have to do to get it ready for sale?
Okay, well, there's probably a few questions there.
Yeah. I know, my brain is like all over the place going, I have so many questions.
So what does it take to sell a business? People want to know three things. What am I going to do? What am I going to get? And how much is it going to cost me? So if you parcel that up into a nice little bow, so take your business, for example, you're going to do this, the earnings, the profit is that, and the cost to start it, the cost to buy it is this. So that's where we start, and everything kind of grows from there.
So getting it packaged up, and then how do you find people looking for businesses to buy?
Oh, good marketing. It's as simple as that.
Great.
It's as simple as that. It's as simple as having a nice product, and in this case, it's the business that we're selling, and knowing who to talk to, knowing how to market it. So we might be looking for a new buyer who's never done it before but thinks they like the idea, or we might be looking for a corporate who's looking for an acquisition, and we just target accordingly, and that's how we find buyers. It's not kind of rocket science, but there is a process that you go through, and you have to get all your ducks in a row, and then it usually works.
And I was just, as I was sitting there and I was hearing all that, and I was like, I can see there's a bit of a science to it, really. And I was thinking, or is it just magic? Is it one of those cases like you've had in your job history of, the right timing and...
Oh, it's 100% magic. I mean, you get a really good business broker, he's magic. And that's me, by the way.
Okay,
the really good business broker. So it's magic.
I will add your details in below this video people can get in touch with you.
Definitely not going to give away the secrets of how. No.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. It's like when I actually was a magician some years ago.
Oh, really?
Yes, wow. I am an award-winning magician. Wow. And people used to say to me, oh, how did you do that trick? And I would always just answer, beautifully. Because that's how we roll. It's
interesting because I spent 3 years, I think, in the middle there somewhere, as a hypnotherapist.
Yes.
So we used to go around, we used to travel the country, we'd put an ad in the paper. And we'd help people give up smoking and lose weight. And so we'd hire a room, we'd get, I don't know, anywhere between 50 and 100 people into the room, and we'd hypnotise them, and they'd leave non-smokers or whatever. And people always used to ask me, how do you do it? Does it work? And I'd just go, yep, it works. It's a secret art, and I can't tell you until you know the handshake. But once you know the handshake, I'll let you know. And then they'd spend the next 2 days trying to figure out what the handshake is. Of course, we'd never do it.
It's just fantastic. So then I have to play devil's advocate here and ask you. So some of your Jedi mind tricks, do you bring that into your sales process now?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
No.
I just want to sit here and go, ooh.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, you can't hypnotise someone who doesn't want to be hypnotised. So, it's a bit Hollywood, can't hypnotise you to go and rob a bank or anything.
Or cluck like a chicken.
Well, I wish I could, but I can't.
No, that's fair. That's fair. So business broking, like I said, I have a million questions, and we've already covered what it takes to package up your business, that there's a bit of an art to finding the right people. Why do you do it? That's a good one.
Yeah, it is. I'm not actually sure. I mean, I can tell you how I started off doing it.
Yeah, tell me that.
And that was quite simple. I ended up sort of semi-retired 20-odd years ago.
Wow.
And, the weather would be nice, and I'd ring a friend and I'd go, hey, the weather's beautiful. Let's go fishing. Let's play golf, whatever. And he'd go, listen, dickhead, I'm at work. And I thought, oh, okay, that's a bit annoying. And eventually my wife said to me, look, you're like a bear with a sore head. You need to find something to do, something to get out of the house. So I literally saw an ad in the paper, business brokers wanted, and that's me. I'm here.
Because you could have, when it comes to sales, like if you have the gift of the gab and you are people focused, which I get that sense about you, you could have fallen into anything. You could have fallen into real estate or any of those traditional sales roles. This is like, for me, this doesn't seem like it seems really hard.
Well, real estate agents, they work too hard. I mean, you don't want to do that. You don't want to be dealing with people at 8 o'clock at night and 11 o'clock on a Saturday and 1 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon. You still have to see the kids and play golf and do all that sort of thing. So real estate was definitely out. My father was a real estate agent for more years than I can care to remember, and I used to have a photograph on the fridge so I knew what he looked like, that kind of thing. Oh, it sounds terrible, doesn't it? I think I was okay. No, it's all right.
I just got a bit emotional for you there.
No, I haven't got any scars. I'll be good. I'll be good. But so I just wanted to do something that was during business hours, but something that gave me the freedom to be able to manage my own time, and that's what business broking does.
That's so cool. Do you think, like I grew up in a household where my dad was a professional speaker and he used words to transform people's lives. And I come from a family of media practitioners, TV presenters. My brother was one of the first presenters on TV3, and radio announcers and things like that. Do you think seeing, like I saw with my parents doing this work, do you think seeing a father who was in a sales-focused industry, do you think that's part of the influence of why you do what you do now?
Yeah, I think it might be inherited. I don't know. We often are like our parents, whether we like to be or not. And some days I don't want to be, but I think we are. So yeah, I think that's, there's the old saying, is it nurture or nature?
Yeah.
And I think part of nurture comes from nature, so I'm ended up probably more like my father than what anybody would want me to be. But I took the good bits. I took the good bits.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. When it comes to business, I know right now, like I'm going to timestamp today's podcast. So today is the 10th of July, 2024. We are supposedly coming out of a recession here in New Zealand, post-COVID as well. That's what the government, I believe, announced a little while ago. And people are still spooked in business. What is the market like for people wanting to buy a business or sell a business right now? Because I know from people that I'm talking to, business owners that I'm talking to, and I talk to a lot of them, they're all saying to me, oh, people aren't buying right now, or people are really holding off, or they're waiting till next year. What is the market really like out there right now?
It's good. It's very good, actually. So we've just finished the first quarter of this financial year. We're 37% up on the same period last year. We measure inquiry rate. We measure that by confidentiality agreements signed. Top of my head, I think we're about 42% up on the same period.
Wow.
We're showing growth on growth on growth. Last year was a good year. We're up on last year. The only problem that we have is that we're not getting enough things to sell. So the amount of business owners that I talk to, same as you, it's not a good time and this is no good and that's no good. But the inquiry is most definitely there. We're completing the numbers, the sales are going through, the prices haven't changed. They're about the same as they've been in the last 2 or 3 years.
And I was going to ask you about that. Yep. Is it because, post-COVID prices of businesses are lower, but you're saying they're still the same? No,
so prices for us peaked December 22, so that's probably right in the middle of COVID.
Yep.
They've come back a couple of % on average, but part of that average is the fact that we're seeing more cafes and those sorts of businesses. Now, they tend to be of a slightly lower value than average, so they do drag our averages down a little bit. But if you take the cafes out, food businesses out, then no, definitely the numbers are up.
So now is the time to sell.
Now is the time to sell. Yep, absolutely. I mean, banks are awash with money. You can't fall over yourselves without a banker knocking on the door going, "Hey, send me someone to buy a business. I've got money."
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not. No,
so then what is the future looking like for business in New Zealand? What is 2025 likely to bring?
I think 25 will be even better. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't be. We've got positive signs coming from Wellington, although I'd like to see more physical things happening, but we seem to be headed in the right direction. If the Reserve Bank just even 1%, I think, off the rates, we'd probably get a lot more people coming into the market. It's interesting, if you go back 5-8 years, people were paying 7, 8, 9% for business loans and considered it the norm. Now they look at that and it's terrifying them.
Wow.
But it's terrifying them because they're thinking of 2 and 3%, which is what we had for the last few years.
That's right.
Which
it was a false economy, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was wrong. It wasn't normal. It was just an aberration or whatever, however you want to look at it. So we're kind of normal now in terms of those interest costs, but that's still, people still are looking back going, oh, well, if I could buy it at, and you have 3% on the loan, I would. Well,
dreaming. Tell them they dream.
I'd probably buy it too,
Well, that's a good sign. If the broker's willing to buy it himself, maybe that's a sign. So my understanding too is you have a lot of helpful video content on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Where can people find you on YouTube to have a look at that video? Is it all focused on what you should be thinking about when it comes to buying and selling a business?
Yep. So it's all buy and sell business stuff.
Yep.
And just go to YouTube, search my name, Peter Nola, and hopefully I'll be the first one to pop up. There's not too many Peter Nolas in the world, so I think I've discovered 3.
I thought
but
it was
there might be some more. But,
I thought it was Peter Nolan.
No.
There you go, Peter
no
Nola.
N at the end. Yep.
Wow.
Nola. Simple as you can be.
Even more, it's like loan rearranged, isn't it? Peter Nola. Yeah, there you go. There you go, because I'm thinking of money there. And so you've got loads of helpful content available for people to watch. So if I always say, we're on I like to think big, and I like to think that we're on a big TV broadcast, or, we're the New Zealand's #1 podcast or the world's #1 podcast around uncovering authenticity and business.
So I'm in the right place.
You are in the right business.
Great.
Lucky you. Today's your lucky day. In thinking big, I like to think that every single person, and this is why I do this, they have an incredible story somewhere in there, and they have from that story some sort of wisdom that they can share, which could affect one person or it could affect 1 million people. You never know. Mm-hmm. And to you, it's just that rule of thumb that you live by, or what you know to be true. As I listened to you today and learned you're actually a serial entrepreneur, and effectively as a business broker, you're running your own business, right?
Sure.
You're working with an organisation, but this is your own business.
Yep.
And that's pretty tough. I assume it's a commission-based business as well.
Yeah, very much. Yep.
And so through all of that, you must have amassed some piece of wisdom through buying and selling your own business, or, setting up and selling your own business and doing really well, and what it takes to do that. I mean, you retired early. So if you had that moment on New Zealand's or the world's #1 leading podcast, because, I'm manifesting that, or, I like to think big, what would be that one piece of wisdom? And it's not necessarily just about business, but that life piece of wisdom that you would share with our listeners, because it could just transform their life. It could be the message they need to hear today. What would be your message?
Trust yourself. It's as simple as that. Too many people, and I see it in business broking all the time, they talk to a lawyer, they talk to an accountant, they talk to a banker, they talk to a coach, they talk to the guy next door, they talk to the guy in the local dairy, they talk to the guy at the pub, and they all get conflicting advice. And then they don't know what to do. It's paralysis by analysis, basically. And so they need to look at themselves. Why am I doing this? Why do I want to do this? Why do I want to be here? What's my plan? Have a plan, have faith in the plan, and stick to it. So trust yourself.
This is the thing that I love about these podcasts, is getting to those moments. That is a massive mic drop. Thank you so much for sharing that. You are that's legendary. Thank you.
My pleasure.
So Peter,
I don't know what to say to that.
It was beautiful. When you go back and watch this afterwards, I hope you get the same vibe that I just got from that. Thank you for sharing that. So Peter, how can people, if they we know about your YouTube channel, but if people want to connect with you and they want help with selling their business or even buying a business, how can they get in touch with you?
So they can reach me through ABC Business Sales. So that's the company that I work for. They can email me, Peter N at ABC Business Sales. Anything they like. Just get on the phone, carry a pigeon, DM me through whatever. It's fine. I'm all over social media. You'll find me on LinkedIn. You'll find me anywhere, everywhere. Yep.
So like me, shameless self-promoter.
Pretty much.
But that's how we get business done, right?
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Well, if I don't promote myself, no one else will.
There you go. Look, I've so enjoyed today's chat. Thank you so much for joining me here in the studio. Big shout out to Pete, who was behind the scenes here today as well, doing all the production. And once again, thank you for joining us. I hope you've got something out of today's chat. I know I have. Thanks to Peter Nola for joining me here in the studio. I'm Monique Bradley. This is Uncovering Authenticity. Like, subscribe, and all that jazz. See you next time. Bye. Thank you, Peter. Woo!
Thank you.